Most Americans assume that if a food is sold nationwide, it must be safe. But that's not how the rest of the world sees it. One American candy contains ingredients that triggered a full EU ban. One popular meat product is restricted in over 150 countries. One breakfast food was rejected because regulators thought it contained too many vitamins. And one everyday supermarket staple contains the same chemical found in yoga mats and flip-flops. Let's break down 8 American foods that other countries decided weren't worth the risk. Skittles look harmless, tiny candies, bright colors. But what made them controversial wasn't the sugar, it was the additives. For years, US Skittles contained titanium dioxide, a white pigment used to make colors appear more vivid. In 2022, the European Union banned it outright, citing evidence that it may be genotoxic, meaning it could potentially damage DNA. The EU also requires that certain artificial dyes still used in US Skittles, including yellow number 5 and red number 40, carry a hyperactivity warning label on European packaging. In the US, no such warning exists. Mars eventually removed titanium dioxide from all Skittles globally, but the artificial dyes remain. And here's the part most people don't realize. The same candy looks identical in both countries. The recipe isn't. European Skittles use natural plant-based colorings instead, which raises an obvious question. If they can make it without these additives for European customers, why not for everyone? And bread raises the exact same question. Bread seems like the safest food imaginable. Flour, water, yeast, salt. But many mass-produced American breads contain something else entirely. Azotocarbonamide, known as ADA, and better known as the yoga mat chemical. The same compound used to make foam rubber in yoga mats, flip-flops, and shoe soles is used in American bread as a dough conditioner and flour bleaching agent. It makes dough softer, more consistent, and easier to process at industrial scale. The EU banned it from food in the 1990s. So did Australia, the UK, and Singapore. In the US, the FDA still permits it, though it placed ADA on a post-market review list in 2025. There's also potassium bromate, another dough improver banned in the EU, Canada, China, and India since 1990, still legal in American bread. The 2014 Subway yoga mat scandal brought ADA into public consciousness for a few weeks. Then people forgot and kept eating their sandwiches. But the next controversy isn't about what's added to the food. It's about how the animal was raised. Pork is one of the world's most consumed meats. Bacon, ham, sausage, pork chops. But the controversy here isn't the pig, it's how the pig was raised. Some American producers use a feed additive called ractopamine. The compound helps animals develop leaner muscle more efficiently. Supporters argue it improves production without harming consumers. Critics argue there isn't enough certainty about long-term safety. That disagreement became global. More than 150 countries restricted or banned imports of ractopamine-treated livestock, including the entire European Union, China, and Russia. The result is strange. The exact same pork product may be fully acceptable in one country and rejected at the border of another. And the next food shows the debate isn't always about additives. Sometimes it's about cleaning methods. This may be one of the most famous food disputes in modern trade history. The chicken itself isn't banned. The washing process is. Many American poultry processors use antimicrobial rinses, including chlorine-based solutions, to reduce bacteria before products reach consumers. Supporters argue it works and protects public health. European regulators disagree. Their argument is direct. If farming and processing standards are high enough from the beginning, chemical washes become unnecessary. Treating contamination at the end of the line is not the same as preventing it at the source. This disagreement became a major trade flashpoint between the US and Europe for years. Both sides claim they're protecting consumers. They simply disagree on how. But no food on this list sparks arguments quite like the next one. Mountain Dew doesn't look natural. That's part of its appeal. The neon color practically glows. The flavor is unmistakable. But for years, certain formulations contained brominated vegetable oil, known as BVO. BVO is used to prevent citrus flavoring from separating in the bottle. It contains bromine, a compound also found in flame retardants. Japan and the European Union banned it from food products. The FDA finally revoked its approval in the US in 2024, after decades of advocacy. Coca-Cola and PepsiCo had already quietly removed BVO from most products years earlier, partly due to consumer pressure. Manufacturers reformulated in various markets. Most people drinking Mountain Dew never noticed. But what most people also don't realize is that international versions still taste noticeably different. The bottle says Mountain Dew. The recipe may tell another story. And speaking of products that change depending on location, breakfast isn't immune either. You would expect sugary cereals to face international criticism. Instead, one of the biggest controversies involved a cereal marketed as healthy. In 2004, Denmark banned Kellogg's Special K, along with Corn Flakes and Rice Krispies. Not because of sugar, not because of artificial dyes, because regulators decided it contained too many vitamins. The fortified versions Kellogg's wanted to sell contained high levels of iron, calcium, vitamin B6, and folic acid. Danish health authorities calculated that regular consumers, especially those already taking supplements, could exceed safe daily intake levels. Their specific concern: potential liver and kidney damage in children. Kellogg's was reportedly mystified. The same products were already approved in other European countries. The company eventually reformulated for the Danish market. Heavily vitamin-enriched versions continued selling in America. One of the strangest food debates in modern history. A product banned for being too healthy. But even that sounds ordinary compared to what happened with raw beef. Steak tartare is one of the oldest luxury dishes in the world. Raw beef. Seasonings. Often topped with a raw egg yolk. Served in some of the finest restaurants on earth. To fans, it's elegant. To regulators, it's a nightmare. Cooking kills many pathogens. Tartare skips that step entirely. That means safety depends entirely on sourcing, handling, storage, and preparation. Some jurisdictions tightened restrictions on raw meat service significantly after food safety incidents. Others maintained oversight requirements. The result is a dish that remains celebrated by chefs while making public health officials deeply uncomfortable. And our final food isn't controversial because of health at all. It's controversial because of politics. Few products symbolize America more than Coca-Cola. It spread across the globe faster than almost any food brand in history. By the late 20th century, it was available in over 200 countries. But officially, not all of them. There are exactly 2 countries in the world where Coca-Cola cannot legally be bought or sold: Cuba and North Korea. The reasons have nothing to do with ingredients or safety. They are entirely political. Cuba had one of the first Coca-Cola bottling plants outside the US, opened in 1906. Then, in 1960, Fidel Castro's revolutionary government began seizing American assets. Coca-Cola left. A U.S. trade embargo followed in 1962. It never came back. Cuba developed its own alternative to cola. North Korea is even more extreme. U.S. trade sanctions imposed during the Korean War in 1950 have prevented Coca-Cola from entering the country for over 70 years. North Korea developed local cola alternatives too. And ironically, in both countries, black market Coca-Cola exists, smuggled in, sold at a premium, and treated almost like contraband. Which means one of the world's most recognizable products became something even more powerful in the places that banned it, a forbidden object.